Yes, so certainly from a games perspective, looking at the first responder guide, what we've been able to provide for the police officers is an environment that they have complete control over, being able to navigate around what is in effect a house. So it's a simulated, there's been a crime, this is a crime scene, and we're able to provide the first responders with this environment that they're able to navigate around, they're able to pick up certain objects, interact with them and make decisions as to how they're going to move through that environment based on the particular scenario. So there's many different ways that can be expanded depending on what kind of scenario it is that the first responders are dealing with. And the immersive environment lends itself very well to an individual being able to fully explore it and interact with it to their heart's content. There's certainly research that shows if we're able to provide that kind of immersive environment that people will feel that they are more part of it, that they'll be more involved in it, more engaged in it. They're more likely to spend more time exploring the environment and feel that it's an experience that they are more a part of. So obviously depending on what the particular environment is, that might have a positive effect on it, or if it's an unpleasant environment, then obviously it's more likely to have an unpleasant effect on them. It really kind of depends on the scenarios. Do we have our expertise in games and expertise in ethical hacking that sit within the School of Design and Informatics, which, technology is obviously the thread that underpins that. So we're really excited that we can work on this project that brings both games and ethical hacking or cybersecurity together. It's certainly really interesting for us to work on a project where there are real-world application of how we can measure how people respond to the gamification or the applied game scenario of cybersecurity. It's really endless. If you think of anything that people need training in, or where people would benefit from, having an environment that they can explore that's safe. So looking at it from a policing perspective, for example, you could take wet forensics, any kind of crime. So obviously at the moment the FRG is very much focused on the digital element of that crime, but there might be other aspects of it that we want to provide first responders with that opportunity to just explore in a safe environment and work out what the appropriate response is depending on what the scenario is. But looking at it from any kind of organisation, if they need to give their employees training in something, whether it's in the changes to the GDPR, for example, or health and safety, this kind of environment would afford itself to that very well. So one of the examples that we've worked on before is looking at the health and safety on an oil rig, but again it's really important that we can provide that immersive environment. So rather than it just being a MOOC or an online kind of test that people are interacting with, if we can say, okay, you're now currently inside this environment, look at what's happening and how do you respond to that, I think that's really useful.